Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Mr. Mujahid, teacher from Seven Skies. With me today in a beautiful library is Mr. Logan. Mr. Logan is our history teacher. How are you doing, Mr. Logan?
I'm doing very good. A very good morning, Mr. Mujahid.
Yeah, very good morning. Thank you. Today, we are going to speak about issues surrounding the topic of Hari Merdeka and Hari Malaysia. Are you ready, Mr. Logan?
Of course.
First questions. So, Mr. Logan, tell us what is wrong of saying Malaysia's Independence Day?
Right. Before I start, salam perpaduan and salam Malaysia Madani. Okay, that's a very, very good question. Right. I'm glad that you asked that question. Right. There's a lot of misconception we Malaysians have on Merdeka Day and Malaysian Day. To say that Malaysia's Independence Day, which falls on 31st August every year, is actually technically it's very wrong. Because when we got our independence, we were known as Federation of Malaya. We only known as Malaysia on 16th September 1963. So that's how we got confused and started to use Malaysia's Independence Day instead of Federation of Malaya's Independence Day. We should say our Independence Day. It would be much more technically better.
Our Independence Day. Okay, second question. This is the difference between the Merdeka Day on the 31st August and also the Malaysia Day on the 16th September. We celebrate this every year. But then, what is exactly the difference between them? Because I think you mentioned before this, there is a difference between federations of Malaya and also Malaysia itself. Right? It's like one after the other. So what was the difference between this, Merdeka Day and also Malaysia Day?
All right. With a little over 2 weeks apart with these two celebrations, right? Our country's Independence Day falls on 31st August every year, and Malaysia's Day is 16th September every year, right? So Merdeka Day, which is we fondly call our Independence Day, National Day, right, is when our country, back then, as I mentioned to you, Federation of Malaya, it got its independence from British, right? Now, when it comes to 16th September, this is where Federation of Malaya, Singapore, North Borneo, now known as Sabah, and Sarawak, we combined together and united as Malaysian Federation. So, but too bad, this unification of Federation of Malaysia did not last much because 1965 Singapore left this Federation of Malaysia. Then we only have Malaysia, which is Western Malaysia, which is Peninsular Malaysia, Sabah and Sarawak. So that's how we have our Malaysia.
I see. So the Federation of Malaya is just referring to the Peninsular Malaysia? Yes?
Yes.
And then the Malaysia by right supposed to be Peninsular Malaysia, Singapore, Sabah, Sarawak, right? But after that, Singapore left.
That's right.
Exactly. When Singapore left us, do we change the name after that? Or just stick with Malaysia?
No, we just stick with Malaysia. Just because Singapore decided that they don't want to be longer part with us, so they left and they formed their own country, but we remain as Malaysia.
I see. Which year did Singapore left?
1965.
1965. Okay. Okay, next questions. Regarding this, how many federal territory are there in Malaysia? I think because most of people will get it wrong, I guess. So can you explain to us?
All right, that's a good
because
question.
If I'm not mistaken, right, the Malaysian flag, you have 14. And people assume that it's 14, but then actually it's not 14. So can you explain a little bit about this?
All right, good. When you look at our Malaysian flag, which is also known as Jalur Gemilang, right? We do have our crescent and our star, right? Along with that, we do have 14 stripes, 7 red stripes and 7 white stripes. Okay, so actually, our country, Malaysia, only has 13 states and 1 federal territory. All right, so this federal territory consists of 3 more states or 3 more territories, which is Kuala Lumpur, Labuan, and Putrajaya. So ideally, these federal territories were created to do as the administration job accordingly, right? So as we know, Malaysia, we have West Malaysia and East Malaysia. So in order to do the administration in West Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur is being nominated as federal territory, right? So whereas for East Malaysia, for Sabah and Sarawak, Labuan has been chosen as the federal territory, right? As time goes on, Putrajaya is also added into the list, right? Because most of our government official buildings and departments were located in Putrajaya. So that's why we have 3 federal territories. So 13 states plus 1 federal territory, which consists of 3, becomes 14 states for Malaysia.
I see. This is very interesting. So originally it was 13 states and two
federal territories.
Federal territory. Also in Malay they call it wilayah.
Wilayah Persekutuan.
Wilayah Persekutuan.
That's
okay.
right.
And then after that they add Putrajaya.
That's right, exactly.
When was that? Putrajaya? Quite recent, isn't it?
Yeah, quite recent.
Okay. Next questions. Last one. This is a very personal questions. What does Merdeka mean to you?
Okay. For me, Merdeka is a moment of celebration for multiculturalism, multiracial nation that we are, right? So we went through a lot of struggles from getting our independence to forming our country's name to be Malaysia until where we are now, right? So Merdeka for me is all that we went through and the united that we are as a nation. That's how Merdeka means to me.
So you're united as a nation.
Yes.
You'll be more inclusive as well.
Very good.
Yeah. Okay, so that's all. Thank you, Mr. Logan, for having a fruitful discussion with me. I hope we can have similar discussion in the future.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mujahid, to have me here.
Before we end these sessions, I would like to wish selamat menyambut Hari Kemerdekaan yang ke-66.
Happy 66 Independence Day to everyone.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam Malaysia Madani.